Hello and welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the Habs game last night that finished with a 4-3 win against the Ottawa Senators. And honestly, this is going to be a very interesting sort of game, because it started off very hot. Montreal was out of the gates playing fantastic. They started off with a goal from Caulfield and then a power play goal from Juraj Slafkovsky off of a fantastic play by Demidov, Caulfield, and Suzuki, which led to Juraj Slafkovsky's goal. It was honestly just a phenomenal start to the game. Bolduc laid a huge hit on Sanderson, which led to the power play goal by Juraj Slafkovsky, with McDermott fighting him for, well, real no reason. You don't really fight off of a clean hit, and for some reason in the NHL nowadays, everybody wants to fight over clean hits. Well, we don't really see very many dirty hits anymore, but it's just interesting to see how quick of a reaction you get when, it's a clean hit and a player might be slightly hurt. I do get Sanderson as one of their stars, but that is just sort of an interesting place point, to just try and fight over. It was good to see, though, Montreal playing super physical. They came out of the gate just playing fantastic, and then as soon as that second period started, it went straight down a hill. It was honestly pitiful to watch. They played horribly. The first goal, honestly, I'm going to be honest, that was very much into Montembeau's fault. He pretty much watched the goal go into the back of the net, while not even trying to play goaltender. He was very clearly out of position off of the shot. It's an easy first save. He thinks the whistle's going to go, and then just gives up on the play entirely. And if that's your number one goaltender, your starting goaltender, you don't want to see him do that. You most certainly don't want to see him do just giving up on plays leading to goals and playing horribly. And to be honest with you, that is what he did last night. He was one of the worst Canadiens players on the ice, and Joe Veleno was playing. Veleno had an interesting fight in the first period off of a clean hit by Carrier, and then proceeded to try and make out with the guy. Then decides halfway through the makeout sesh with this guy that, hey, I'm supposed to be fighting you, and then drops the gloves and doesn't land a single punch. Honestly, I don't really have words to put into that on what was going through Veleno's head, but I can say one thing, in that he put Montreal in the penalty kill, which hurt Montreal yet again. And honestly, it just doesn't make sense to me what went through his head to fight up to on a clean hit. It led to a penalty. Nothing happened on that penalty, but not my point. Heading into the second period, though, Juraj Slafkovsky takes a penalty. Honestly, I'd say that's a good penalty to take. But just a bad goal. Batherson scores his fifth. It's a nice goal by Batherson, I'm going to be completely honest. He capitalized on the play quickly and efficiently. And then Matthew Amanio scores. A shot from the point by Pinto. Nobody picks up where the puck goes. Montembeau makes the first save. Gaudreau does interfere with him on that first save, but then for some reason, Matheson is right in exact prime crisp position to score on his own net. Crisp position to score on his own net. I'm very confused on what went through Matheson's head to stand right in front of the net. Not even in the way of a shot, but to screen your goalie. It was a clean screen, and to be honest with you, it just didn't make much sense to me why he would have done that. Would have been nice to see Montreal kind of do something to, get back into the game after being down 2 going into the third. Would have been nice to see Montreal come out of the gates hot. What did Montreal do? They came out slugged. They came out like a slug, didn't try, super uncompetitive, and started the third period horribly. They weren't very good at all, to be honest with you. And Montreal is just really lucky. Ottawa went 0 for 3 on their power play. Um, but Tim Stützle comes out and scores on another bad position play by Montembeault. I do get that as a 2-on-1, but you do have to register your defenseman has that cross-crease pass. You have to be targeting the shooter, not sliding over midway through his shot. I do get Stützle did put on a little jab, but you have to be... Montembeault had to comprehend that he had no space. You peek your head, you move half an eye inch, and you can see Dobson is right there. But I don't really want to get too far into Montembeault, because I do honestly think that Dobas should have started again last night. You got to keep the goalies. When you have a hot goalie, you got to keep it rolling, and especially when your backup goaltender is not playing well at all, or your starting goaltender isn't playing well at all. You got to keep with the hot goalie. You got to keep with the hot goalie, and it was a game where Montreal could have used the hot goalie. They could have easily won in regulation, but Montreal decides to win in overtime. Off that Stützle goal, it did lead to Montreal being down 3-2, and Montreal started to slowly pick up the pace, which was nice to see. With Montreal picking up that pace, though, it led to an Ivan Demidov masterclass with a give-off feed to Matheson. Matheson gives it back to him. Ivan Demidov passes it back to Hudson. Hudson gives him a beautiful feed, and Demidov snipes it glove side on Allmark with a beautiful goal. And that sends the game to, extra time. And with extra time, what does Montreal do? They do what they do best, this season especially, and they win in overtime with a beautiful goal from Newhook. A beautiful, crisp goal over the glove side again of Allmark. Just crisp, beautiful goal. Loved to see it. As well as, there was a couple interesting things where Pinto probably could have got a penalty shot in the second period on that penalty drawn by Juraj Slafkovsky. I do honestly fully get where he was at, but I wouldn't have given him the penalty shot. I would have given him more of, given him just the penalty, the straight penalty. The Lane Hudson penalty shot attempt was pretty disgraceful at that. I will be honest. He had space, he could have switched up what he was going to do, but no, he decided to, go with what his intentions were. It's a nice save by Allmark, but would have liked to see him kind of switch up what he was going for. He does not. It is okay. Montreal still ends up winning, but a large part of Montreal's game, Ivan Demidov with the beautiful goal, but a large part to why Montreal, I think, played so poorly was just the poor defensive play by Noah Dobson. Noah Dobson clocked in 21 minutes and 18 seconds last night, but he was one of Montreal's worst defenders. Him, and I would honestly like to say Struble did have a really nice fight, but he was pretty just not really out there. He didn't really do much. He played okay, I would say, but him and Dobson really just led to Montreal sort of crumbling. I would have loved to see Arbor Jacki actually fight Nick Cousins instead of Struble, but sometimes you don't get what you want. I think Struble is trying to be an Arbor Jacki, and he's just not as good as Arbor is as of right now. But what I'm not liking, though, is the way Montreal is giving more ice time and more crucial ice time to Jayden Struble. Arbor Jacki isn't going to be that guy that goes out and scores points like Struble, but Arbor Jacki has really developed his defensive game to a point where I would prefer to have him out there than a guy like Struble. He plays such a better defensive game, more defensive sounded. He plays just a better overall game than Jayden Struble, and I'm really sort of confused to why Arbor's getting overlooked so much in that defensive group. it's really, really unfortunate because Arbor Jacki is a great defender. He's playing really well to start off this season. I he's had one bad game against Vancouver, which he had two penalties in, and was a -2 if I'm not mistaken. But besides for that, he hasn't really had very many bad games, and I would love to see him get more ice time. Because if he can get more ice time, Montreal could, we could really develop a player like him to become better. But yet again, Montreal is just deciding not to roll with that. Um, but another issue was Montembeault's save percentage of last night. He had an 824, and that is worse than his average right now. He can't really save the puck as well as he did last year. Marty St. Louis has said that that's not something he's worried about, but as a fan, I think I'm starting to get a bit worried when it's game number 12 of the regular season and our starting goaltender who played 60 games last year can barely get a 900. I don't think he has a single 900 save percentage all year. Um, and it's really just sort of disappointing. He only has 2 wins on the season, and three wins on the season, and the one was the Ottawa in overtime where he got bailed out. Another one was the Seattle where he got bailed out again. And it's just, he keeps getting bailed out for his poor goaltending play, and I honestly think that Montreal has got to do something with that. I don't know what they can do. I don't know what they're going to do. But I feel like they should just roll with which goalie's hotter, and which goalie proceeds to be the hottest goalie in the league right now is none other than Jacob Dovish. Keep him hot, keep him playing. He's playing at a record pace. He's still undefeated on the regular season. It's just, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to keep Jacob Dovish out there. Honestly, I'm not really too sure why, but overall, I would love to see Montreal just go out and just play a full proper game. Because if they play a full proper game, I think Montreal can. I think Montreal, if they had played like they played in the first period, they could have won that game 7-0. It was such a good game defensively or offensively in that first period that if they'd kept up that pace for the whole game, I honestly think that they would have won by a lot. But honestly, I don't really have much else to say besides it was a very, very frustrating game to watch. Frustrating in the facts of why did it take so long for Montreal to get back on to that pace. But that is going to be the end of this video. Thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it. If there's anything you'd like to say, your opinions on what I had said, just let me know in the comments below. But that's going to be all for today's video, and thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to leave a like and a comment on let me know how you feel. Feel free to like and subscribe. But that's going to be all for me today, and all I really have to say is have a good rest of your day.